Do you know what the problem of LPT is? The logical problem of Trinity?
What's the logical problem with the Trinity?
That there are three gods.
Mm.
It's not monotheism. It's polytheism.
Uh,
Okay, so can you justify how that is not three gods?
I mean, what's the argument that it is?
The argument is that there are three distinct entities with three distinct consciousness. They're separate from each other, hence there are three gods. That's polytheism. It's not monotheism.
Okay. I mean, from like Orthodox perspective, we wouldn't, we couldn't say that there's three separate persons or beings. This would just be a straw man of our position.
It's not like I'm attacking the concept. I don't care what your orthodoxy is saying. I'm saying it's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
The concept you make, I wouldn't even hold to. So, I mean, you can attack that made-up concept all you want.
It's not a made-up concept. So, do you think that the Trinity is logical? Does it defy logic? Yes or no?
From the Orthodox perspective, I think it's logical. Yeah.
It is logical, right? No, I'm talking about, does it deny logic, the classical logic?
No.
So do you see on the screen the propositions?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first statement says the Father is God. The second one says Son is God. Third, Holy Spirit is God. You agree so far?
Yep.
Okay. And at the same time, the Father is not the Son, the Father is not the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is not the Son.
In the sense of personhood, yeah.
Right? So, and then basically, what will be the conclusion? What does it say at the end?
Your conclusion is if is a predication. Oh, number 7. There are not three gods, but one. What? Which?
Yeah, and that is your conclusion from your side. We don't agree to that. We're challenging that. Yeah. It is three gods because they're not each other. It defies the law of identity. Right. Do you know what the law of identity is?
Yes, I'm aware of the law of identity.
Okay. What are its three properties?
The three properties. Yeah. So the law of identity, the three properties.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by the three properties?
That it's reflexive.
I understand
that it's reflexive. That it's symmetrical. That it's reflexive. That it's symmetrical, and it's transitive. Correct.
I don't use that law of identity. The more classical one is that A equals A. You know, for example.
But you just said
Socrates.
You just said that it does not defy the law of identity or the law of logic.
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
But it does. In this case, it does.
How so?
Because they're not each other. So that's why I asked you. The law of identity, it has three properties, right? It states that, for instance, X is X. That's reflexive.
Yeah, but then this is just
the second property is. Let me complete. The second property is X is Y. Then, by default, Y would also be X. And there and that's where you have the problem right here. It's not reflexive because you're saying that the Father is not the Holy Spirit and the Son is not the Holy Spirit or the Father. They're not each other. So how are they reflexive?
Oh, I mean, this is a category error. You're just proving that there's a distinction in persons.
It's not a category.
There's a difference between the one God, which is the one divine essence, the one being.
Wait, how is it a category error? Can you
we affirm there's a plurality within the personhood, but there's still one God because there's one essence, one nature, one being.
Correct. Then that would be statement of predication, not identity. So it does defy law of identity if you go by making a statement of identity. So you are saying that if we have the prepositions that we have in front of us, from there, yes, it would be three gods. Basically, then you're conceding to that.
It would be three persons, not three gods.
That's a law. Look, what kind of statement are you making when you are saying that the Father is God, or the Son is God, or the Holy Spirit is God? Is that a statement of identity, or is that a statement of predication? If you don't know the distinction, ask me, and I can clarify.
It's a state. I mean, sure, you can clarify other.
Okay, so statement of identity is just basically you changing the name. So, for instance, whatever your real name is, let's say John, right? And Bugs, that's your nickname, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same person that I'm speaking to. Everything that is true for Bugs, it is true for John, for instance, if that's what your name is, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In this case, is that the case in case of the Trinity? Everything that is true for the Father, is it true for the Son? So in other words, when the Son was hung on the cross, did the Father also die? Did the Holy Spirit also die?
No.
Exactly. So they're not identical to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? So it cannot be statement of identity. Else it will lead to modalism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now let's go to the statement of predication. Statement of predication, it actually has the same statements we can look at, right? The Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God, right? But what you're saying is that the Father has a universal property that the Son and the Holy Spirit also shares, for instance, divinity, right?
Mhm.
But then at the same time, they have properties of their own that they don't share with the other two members of the Trinity. For instance, in case of the Son, he took on the human flesh and he went through crucifixion. The Father did not go through that, correct?
Mhm.
Right? And then remember the statement 4, 5, 6 that says that they are not each other. So from your angle, statement 7, that there is only one God, that will not be true because they're not identical to each other. That's tritheism. You have three distinct entities that are not each other, and they have certain properties common with each other, just like you and I. We share, humanity with each other, but then we have our own distinct identities. Apply the same thing to the Father, Holy Spirit, and the Son. They're three distinct identities. That's tritheism. That's three gods.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd say these identities only pertain to the personhood, not their actual nature or essence.
That's why I asked you, what type of statement are you making? Because look, we can only communicate in language, right?
Mhm.
There's no other form of communication between you and I. We can only communicate in language. So when you say that the Son is, or if you want to replace that with equal sign, no problem. It's the same thing, right? When you say the Son is God, the Father is God, what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm meaning that the distinct person identifies the Father, the distinct person identifies the Son, the distinct person identifies the Holy Spirit are all God, but that it couldn't be three separate gods because it's the same essence and there's still one being and one nature.
Understood. Just like how you and I, we share humanity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
Not necessarily that.
we share, no, hold on. We don't share humanity?
The way you're going about it wouldn't equivocate because we still have distinct minds, we have distinct wills, and those sorts of things which the Trinity does not have.
The will doesn't really matter because we could share the same will. We would still be separate from each other. Now, consciousness, are you telling me that can the Son make the proposition that he is the Son?
I didn't say consciousness, but I said mind.
You said consciousness. You want me to rewind the tape? You said
Yes,
that's one of the things that you and I, we have separate, and you said God does not have that. So are you saying that God, all three of these entities?
God has one mind, one will, one being versus
perfect. So when you say God has all three members of the Trinity, they have the same mind. In other words, you're saying they have the same consciousness?
I mean, how would you define consciousness?
Consciousness as in the preposition, I am the Father. Can the Father say that?
Yeah, I'd say that they don't share the same consciousness in like a more modern, like psychological sense.
Perfect. So they're just like us. We have separate consciousness. The second thing you brought was will. I told you we can share the same will for the same goal. That does not make us one. So the Son, the Holy Spirit, and the Father, they can share the same will. No problem. That would still mean they're separate because they have separate consciousness. That's three gods, my man.
I'd say they share the same consciousness. Yeah.
They share the same consciousness.
In Orthodox theology, yeah.
Okay. So when you say they share the same consciousness, can the Son say that he is the Father?
Can the Son say that he's the Father?
Yeah.
No.
He can't. Yet he has the same consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so the problem that you run into, if he has the same consciousness as the Son and the Holy Spirit, he should not be able to say either one of them. If they make a statement, that should be true for all three of them because they share the same consciousness. So when the Father is saying, I am the Father, he should be able to say, I am the Son, and he should also be able to say, I am the Holy Spirit. If not, then they have separate consciousnesses.
I mean, yeah. Well, it really depends. When you're saying like I, right? I am the Father, I am the Son, I am the Holy Spirit. The use case of I would be a personal speech that would be speaking as the specific hypostases, right? The specific person, not simply as God in general. When I talk about like one conscious, one mind, that pertains to the divine nature, right? you're reducing that like personhood and those types of things. You can't reduce the personhood, the hypostases, into the nature, and likewise you can't like increase the divine nature into the persons, right? So it's one divine consciousness, but but it is personally possessed by three distinct subjects.
Correct. So are they separate or not? We come back to the same question, my man. Is the
Can't.
consciousness separate or not? I've already granted that all three of them, they could be divine. They share the same essence, because essence is another fancy term for property or nature, right? I already granted whatever type of essence you want to associate with him, that's fine. I can grant you that. What the question is not about their essence. The question is about their consciousness. Do they have distinct consciousness from each other? You already admitted. First you said no, then you said yes. Now you're going back to no?
I think the best answer would be yes and no. No, they wouldn't. They don't have separate consciousness.
So you defied the second law of logic there, my man.
No, I didn't defy the law of non-contradiction.
Do you know what the second law of logic is?
The law of non-contradiction.
Yes. You said that it is true and not
false.
true at the same time.
Fawad, I just want to ask one thing, because I still
Go
don't
ahead,
understand. I still don't understand, because he looks like a knowledgeable Christian. I still don't understand the
I'm really-
difference between a person and essence.
Did
Can
you say that you are a modalist?
What? No, I said I'm
No,
not.
no. No,
No,
he said he's
he said
an Orthodox.
No,
he didn't say
Bring
that.
up
He didn't
the
say that.
slide.
he's being humble. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Before you guys can
All the
continue,
people we debated today.
before, yeah, just a second. Before you guys can continue, let me just appreciate one thing. Bug, at least you are talking in a sensible manner. The guy before you, he was going all over the place. So a thumbs up for that. Yeah, continue.
Nah,
So-
facts,
Yeah,
facts.
definitely. Yeah.
So, Bug, what I'm trying to understand is the difference between essence and person. So, for example, if I want to apply it to myself and determine whether I have one essence or two essence, or if I have one person or two person, how do I know for sure?
What do you mean? Where we at?
Person and essence. How do I know if they're one or many?
How do you know if there's one or many?
Yes.
I
So,
mean,
how-
revelation.
okay, so let me ask it again. How can I distinguish between a person and an essence?
Yeah. So, do you want both in like general, like in human, or just specifically when as it pertains to Trinity?
So are you telling me there's a special meaning to those words when
Well,
you use it for God, or
right? The persons are the who.
no? So can you explain it to me? Just saying who
Yeah.
doesn't
So
explain it to me.
the essence being the what refers to the nature, the being, the substance.
No. I need an explanation, my friend, not just a definition.
Can you give an example,
Looking
for
at-
instance, like, can we
What?
say, can we say that Faisal, you and I, we have the
We
essence
have one
of,
essence.
yeah, we're one essence,
Do you
because
guys
we
still
share-
need the screen, or I can remove it?
Yeah, you can remove it for
you
now.
can remove it,
Okay, fine.
that we have
We are
the essence
disconnected
of
for
being
what
a
we're
human
witnessing.
being. Can we say that?
I mean, technically, yeah, you could say that, but
Right.
then
And then you would say that we're separate persons, correct?
yes, I would.
Perfect. And so how many persons are, or how many beings and or
How many
entities? Let's call it
humans? How many
entities,
humans
yeah.
are there?
How many humans or entities are we?
Well, we're like 8 billion. You have the one essence, but then you also have your the difference is when we human essence, right? The human essence pertains like the rationale, more to like the attributes of a human and those sorts of things. But then you still have your own consciousness, own mind, own will, right? It's not simply just a distinction versus within the ousia, which that God has the divine nature, that essence. It's one being, one mind, one will, versus we're many beings.
Okay, so when you say one mind, I asked you that. Do you mean like one consciousness? Yeah, and you went back on your word twice, so you couldn't stand behind your statement. So I'd rather you actually stand behind your statement. It's okay, you can think about it, because when I asked you, do they have separate consciousness? First you said no, then you said yes, then you said no again. Okay, so where do you stand?
I've already I corrected myself one time.
Okay,
think-
so what will be your final statement? Do they share the same consciousness?
there's one divine consciousness.
Correct. But then the problem we run into is when I asked you, can the Father make the statement that he is the Father? You said yes. And I asked you, if the Son can make that same statement that he is the Father, you said no, which means that they have distinct consciousness. Just like you and I, we share the same essence, but we have separate consciousness. The will is no issue at all. We both could be, following the same will. We could share the same will. That's not the problem. The problem comes into mind or consciousness. To me, it's one and the same thing. There's no distinction. It all comes down to consciousness.